from A Sense of a Goose, author unknown.
This fall, when you see geese flying along in a V formation, heading south for the winter, think about what science has learned about why the geese fly in that way. They do because we have learned that as each bird flaps its wings, it creates an updraft for the bird immediately behind it. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock flies 71% farther than if each bird were to fly on its own.
Whenever a goose falls out of formation, it feels the resistance involved with trying to go it alone. The goose then quickly gets back into formation to take advantage of flying with the flock.
When the lead goose gets tired, he rotates back to the wing and another goose flies on the point. The geese honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed.
Finally, when a goose weakens or is wounded by gunshot and falls out of formation, two geese also fall out and follow their teammates down to provide protection. They stay with the fallen goose until it can fly again or until it does. Only then do the geese take off again to catch up with the group.
If we have a sense of a goose, we will learn to stand by each other in the same way.
Good morning. My name is Annie Ogden. I'm a sixth form boarder from Rowayton, Connecticut, and this year's president of the John Hay Society. The John Hay Society is Westminster's oldest student organization. It started as a group of students who organized the chapel services that Westminster students attended 3 times a week that lasted for about 45 minutes. Today, John Hay students still take care of the chapel, but also help organize the talks and choose charities for fundraisers, including our Dance Marathon fundraiser in the spring. About once a month, we hold offertories at the end of the chapel service. Students and faculty are encouraged to bring any small donation to the charity or cause we are supporting that day. The main purpose of chapel is to give in a multitude of ways, so we try our best to stay true to that throughout the year. I first stepped onto this campus in 8th grade to visit my older sister Catherine, who was a 3rd former at the time. My parents and I were walking around the school waiting for Catherine to finish math class, and we stopped at commencement lawn. To me, this lawn right outside the chapel is associated with our all-school sit-in at orientation, the annual spring formal under the tent, and the graduation ceremonies each May. But for my parents, it was the location of their wedding reception, which meant I was about to hear one of the nostalgic lectures that my 3 sisters and I always attempted to avoid. My mom grew up in Simsbury, and although she herself never attended Westy, her siblings and cousins did, and that may be what helped bring me here today. There is a picture framed in our living room of my mom and dad on their wedding day here at Westy, but Catherine and I publicly refused to admire it due to the fact that they were holding hands on senior lawn in the photograph, a spot that is traditionally meant only for 5th formers after they've been pulled on by seniors the night before graduation, my favorite Westminster tradition. As we stood outside that day, waiting for Catherine, my mom and dad began reminiscing about the funk band that played at both my dad's fraternity and then their reception. I could feel it slowly escalating, and once they began recreating their favorite dance moves as students whom I did not know walked by, I was mortified and knew that that was my cue to leave. I was desperate to be as far away from them as possible, and since the chapel was the closest building to me, I naturally gravitated towards it. I walked through its large open doors and marveled at how massive it felt. Now again, I look around and love feeling how small and intimate it can be as well. Since I was not yet a student at Westy back then, I could not exactly understand the sense of community at Westminster. I had constantly listened to my sister talk about how comfortable and close she felt with all her peers and teachers, so I knew there must be something there. During my first days here as a new sophomore, I thought back to that first trip to campus and remembered seeing the chapel as a symbol of the community in the way that it lets the entire student body and faculty come together to learn from and celebrate each other. I was so intimidated to enter a new high school that I could not imagine students and teachers would feel comfortable enough to share their life experiences with one another, smiling, appreciating, and reflecting during each talk. The first chapel I vividly remember hearing was from Ginny Durfee, a senior 2 years ago. As I watched her speak, I remember thinking, I'd throw up if I ever had to give one of those. But now that I have heard countless chapel talks and presentations, I think I have come to understand how accepted and comfortable this community can make someone feel, especially in the chapel. I think all those who have been here in past years can agree that some chapel talks are so special that they remain memorable even years later. 2 years ago, Megan Richard talked about movies and showed us a montage of clips from her favorite Disney films. Last year, Hallie Fowle gave a talk on her 18th birthday and joked about chronic bad luck with her birthdays each year. Ted Serbach spoke about his memories of a school shooting at his Florida middle school. And Catherine Berry, last year's head of John Hay, spoke of her experiences growing up at Westy as a faculty child. Regardless of the topic, chapel talks have the ability to bring laughter, lessons, and inspiration into any day and have become an integral part of daily life at Westminster. To me, the chapel is the epitome of Westminster, the central point that radiates everything this school stands for. I have seen the grit in all those who have given chapel talks during my years here, finding the courage to stand up in front of the school and speak about something of importance to them. I have also seen the grace in the community of students and faculty who fully embrace each speaker and listen to what they have to say. This community can be found all around Westminster, but I believe the chapel is where it is most prevalent. So maybe someday, one of you will be standing up in front of this school in the chapel to share your own experiences. Or maybe you'll find yourself somewhere like a 90-degree gym, teaching all of your peers what some might call a hip-hop dance to a song called Lip Gloss by an artist by the name of Lil Mama. Either way, just know that although you are nervous, there are hundreds of people at this school who will accept you for the choices that you make. Westminster's most unique quality is this trait of acceptance, so take advantage of it. Whether it is through giving your own chapel talk or by giving your full attention to someone else's, remember that each time you walk into this chapel, you are a part of one of Westminster's most special traditions. Now, to finish, I would like to welcome all new students who are just starting to experience the chapel. To the 13 new sixth formers, and to the 10 new fifth formers, to the 38 new fourth formers, including my little sister Jane, sorry Jane, and of course to our third form who are all beginning to discover the school together. Welcome to our chapel. Thank you.